been deceived. I've been tricked. That's not too important. What's important is that I make content I really enjoy. I have fun with the whole process. I love coming up with the ideas, love talking about it, love recording it, love editing. Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield and welcome to Vlog My Mind. Firstly, I finally worked out how to use this bloody equipment that I've bought. So now, whether you've got earphones in, sitting with your computer, I finally worked out how to get the mic working properly due to my own ignorance. Anyway, Vlog My Mind this week. It's really quite a powerful week for me emotionally, mentally. We've got Benevolent Business Podcast Series 2 finally up. I've got some great epiphanies that I had within my own realization around how my mind has worked and how I've managed to find a lot of fulfillment and contentment within what I am doing today and moving away from a destination mindset. And further, a way in which I've realized my mind has learned a lot more around empathy. So let's kick into all of those. Firstly, of course, Benevolent Business is out. If you haven't watched it, listen to it. Check out my conversation with Farzad. It is really incredible. He had a lot of value to bring and it was a phenomenal conversation. I'm so grateful I got to have that conversation. I just couldn't believe that I reached out to him. He was, I think, this fifth conversation I'd arranged for the series, and yet I managed to have it quite swiftly, but one that I was determined and I was so excited about, so I had to get it out first. So check it out. Next, I had a realization in terms of my mindset. This was just in therapy this week. We actually recorded the conversation or the session, so it'll be interesting to do that more in the future and see if that could actually find its way to becoming content. That'd be very interesting. Just need to work out how to hook up my camera to my laptop, to my Mac, as well as my mic, and I've had a lot of trouble because there isn't the software. Panasonic don't have the software for this particular model of camera, so great decision on camera, Hayden. Anyway, the story goes, I'm going to get metaphorical here. I realised, like in running my business, the way my mind was, the focus I had on this destination, I was so infused with where I wanted to get to and where I wanted to be that anything below that was just outright failure as such. And every day waking up just dissatisfied with my life and the fact that I hadn't moved my circumstance to this position. And that position was having a large company, a great team of people around me, having this wealth, financial wealth, this knowledge, all these things that I wanted to acquire and get to a point. And I just saw myself as like, oh, I'm no one. I'm not worth anything because I'm not at that point yet. I haven't ascertained these goals. Now I've moved away from that and I've found now in the life that I'm doing, I'm fulfilling myself in terms of fulfilling my passions. I'm doing what I really love. I still have to do elements of things. We all have elements of things we don't like. You can't have the perfect life. I don't think that could exist if you if you just did what you wanted all the time. It wouldn't be perfect. But I've managed to formulate a lifestyle in which I love everything that I'm doing, and even the things that I don't like doing. I found ways to, like as I've said in multiple videos, I don't actually like gardening. However, I found a way to really enjoy it and appreciate the fact that I'm out in nature. I'm getting a lot of nutritional benefit and health benefits just by the fact that I'm outside, breathing in fresh air, sort of. Well, I'm in the sticks a lot of times, so it is quite fresh air. And in addition to that, I'm getting a lot of vitamin D, and there's a lot to help with my own nature in terms of body clock and the serotonin, as well as like brain chemistry going on there. In addition to all of that, it's also a great time to listen to podcasts. I listen to so many podcasts, and if you haven't watched it, I've made hopefully it's a great video, on my 7+1 favourite podcasts I listen to. So definitely check those out if you do have a lot of time, because it's wonderful that I get to do something where I can't do anything except the task at hand. However, that task at hand, I'm not engaging too much of my brain. It's a very physical process that I can have my mind fixated on learning, absorbing information, and listening to a wonderful conversation while I'm doing it, which is amazing. I'm just working solo, running around garden to garden, listening to podcast after podcast. Works for me as long as I can keep that balance and have it part-time and sustain it in that way. But to the point, I've managed to find this fulfillment in me. And the way that I illustrated this point and put a story to it is that I realized now that I was climbing a mountain. We're all climbing this mountain in terms of the endeavor, the goals we wish to reach. And that peak is your goal, is achieving that. But I realized that I had been climbing the wrong side of the mountain. I was in this shady, icy, cold, damp area, taking guidance and pointers from people at times, but just realized that I was endeavoring my way up this mountain, but finding barrier after barrier, having every emotion and mental fiber in my brain and mind body tested. And it was only after years of doing that every day, every waking moment, jumping back up that mountain, trying to get up, falling back down, getting so far up, falling back down, getting so far up, seeing this goal, this aspiration at the top, this peak that I wanted to get to, and just suffering, well, what felt like suffering every day that I wasn't there. And that it wasn't pointless making this journey, but it just seemed like this was so worthless. And I just want to be there. Why am I not there? Why am I not there? Why am I not there? There's the top of the mountain. I need to get there. And that was something that was based around being able to get people in the right place and have a lot of people work together and build this team, but it just wasn't working. And I realized in the way that I've adapted and changed, evolved now to what my lifestyle is essentially I've been introduced to the other side of the mountain. I discovered that, in fact, on the other side of the mountain is where the sun shines. It's where it's bright, it's warm, it's a lot easier to climb. There's a lot more routes to take. It's a lot more versatile. And further, there's a lot more connections there. There's a lot more people to help and guide you, and not directly, but indirectly just give you information that will help you gain wisdom, gain the knowledge, and gain the requisite skills to actually ascend the mountain. And instead, what I've found with this side is that the peak doesn't even matter anymore. The peak's in the distance. Yeah, it looks great. I look forward to that one day. I'm not counting down the clock anymore. It's just, do you know what? It's not raining anymore. It's not damp. It's not icy. I'm not cold. I hate being cold. But in fact, it's wonderful. I'm climbing this mountain. I'm enjoying it. It's not too taxing in terms of where I was climbing a sheer face. Now I'm just taking the windy path, embracing nature, enjoying the stroll, making wonderful connections on the way up. And that peak is somewhere in the distance, but I'm no longer focused with that destination mindset. Instead, I'm just embracing, enjoying every day. I wake up excited, I go to sleep excited. Sometimes that's a challenge to fall asleep when you're too excited. But overall, I feel so much fulfillment, and it almost, in some ways, that peak has changed. It hasn't got the same things, but even if that peak is never reached, I kind of think, well, it's wonderful, it's beautiful to just be on this mountain face as it is anyway, and I can observe and see, and further, I can look down and realise how far I've already come. Before, on that dark side, it was as if I was just looking down and there was fog. You try and take a step back, observe where you've come from, look down, look around, and all you see is fog, and you just realise how your present moment is so misty, so difficult to grasp, and yet you feel that you haven't really achieved anything because you can't see where you've come from. And yet, as I said, I'm back on this bright side. I can see the distance, I can see below, and I can appreciate the journey I've been on thus far and see what I've overcome, the barriers, and how treacherous it may have been at the start, but it wasn't even treacherous. It was actually quite enjoyable. And it has been all the way up so far, and I can look up ahead of me and see that journey far clearer. Before, as I said, in that misty side, that darkness, I couldn't see above. I kind of knew the peak was there in the way that with my business, I knew what I wanted to get to, but actually being able to see the steps and take that peak, reverse engineer it was so challenging. And further, it was based around relying on other people so much. Whereas this side, yes, I make wonderful connections. They're all part of it. However, it's not so reliant on others. It's all focused on me making this progression. That peak, I suppose, for me now is having a successful YouTube channel. But I've spoken on this before, this extrinsic motivation of people subscribing, people liking the videos, people commenting, being able to monetize it one day in the future, run those ads, get that revenue. But that's not too important. What's important is that I make content I really enjoy. I have fun with the whole process. I love coming up with the ideas, love talking about it, love recording it, love editing. It's all great fun, and I'm really enjoying the conversations that's brought me into. I've made even more connections, people I went to school with, people that I've met in business, and yet now I'm having this whole new conversation around content creation, around YouTube, around how people have grown their channels. What skills have you got? What ideas and tips, advice could you lend to me or offer in order for me to learn more? And I just want to sit and listen and hear what they have to say and really take it in and absorb and just be in awe and be like, wow, I really can see your dedication, your devotion, your determination there, and you've put so much work in it. It all shows. There's your portfolio. There's all the videos you've been creating over this time, these years, and it's wonderful. So congratulations. It's incredible to see you've achieved that. It's great to know that you're actually making money on the side, and it's getting to the point where I've talk to people where it's almost a point of why do they need to go to work full time when they make so much money on YouTube? And I had a further realization with this, and that is that when I climbed to the peak of the mountain, I realized now there's this issue with achieving your goals and ascertaining them, getting to that destination you've always strived for, is that you get it in the Olympics of these Olympians that are constantly battling to get to the top, to get to that event, to every waking moment, what they eat, what they drink, how they wake up, what their mind is doing, what their body's doing. Everything is focused around that one event. For years you are training, for years years you are training to get your body in the right place, get your mind in the right place, to do this 1, 2, 3 events within these games, within this one whole event that takes place over a few weeks. That's what you're working towards. And that comes, it's great. You're elated. You get that gold, you get them bronze, you get those medals, or you just have the accolade that comes with that success of being at the Olympics. However, after the Olympics, suddenly everything you've been striving for, everything you've been working towards, everything you've devoted your time, every waking moment and sleeping moment is gone. It's done. It's complete. What do you do now? And a lot of people fall into depression. I can't remember, I think it's called like Olympic depression or something. But it's almost as if they just fall off this precipice and just drop the cliff, and their mental state just falls and plummets, which is something to be concerned about. So like, I think, the thing that I think is different for me in looking at this goal and looking at this, even the goal I had before, or the goals I had before, but now having that lifestyle I want to create, having this YouTube channel I want to create, having this content, having this podcast, it's a very gradual process, and it's not something that will peak and drop off that cliff. It's get a successful YouTube. I'm not even sure what a successful YouTube channel is to me. Is it 1,000 subscribers? Is it 10,000 subscribers? 100,000? 1 million subscribers? 100 million? Is it? Well, it's not. No, it's not. It's none of those things. It's a number somewhere that I haven't worked out. But even once I achieve it, it's not something that just suddenly stops. You get it, and yeah, you get revenue. That's great. You start getting paid. It's then dealing with the mental capacity of actually being paid to make these videos and trying to keep that separate and just still enjoy what I'm doing. But as I said, if you get the point of, it's not like I'm building up to this event and it's done. I'm just building this YouTube channel, building these connections, and I can always build upon it. And that's what I've put into my diary here, is about, or journaling, is that when I get to the peak, I'll actually realize that I couldn't see the peak from the bottom. This is a false peak. I've been deceived. I've been tricked. The peak has been misrepresented to me. The goal, the aspiration, the finish line has been misrepresented to me. And in fact, there was a hidden peak all along. And that's because I can see now that in getting to this goal, achieving these things, is it will open up even more doors. And now that I've achieved it, it's like, well, no, you can actually move further up. You can start to do new things. And I sort of went into the depths of this. I've touched probably on future videos if you want to know. But I realized this actually happens multiple times throughout my life until I hit the ultimate thing in life, which I won't share on this video. But I realized that peak, I'll keep being deceived. I'll keep being tricked, but in a positive way. It's not negative to say, I've been deceived and it was all a lie and all a con. But no, in fact, I see this new peak and I think, do you know what? I'm absolutely amazed that the journey is still continuing. It's not over. And I'm starting to love the journey every day. It's wonderful to be able to make these videos, to have these conversations, record a podcast, to see what I'm doing wrong and go through stupid mistakes of like using the mic wrong, having the settings wrong, that it doesn't come out right, and working all of that out and being able to, because the huge thing that I have with YouTube especially is just being able to look back on this portfolio and go through the videos, go through the thumbnails and see how it's all evolving over time and improving, and be like, whoa, this is what I was at the start, and like, the amount of knowledge I realise I know what I know, and I'm aware of that, and it's so wonderful to see. I've had that in so many things in terms of like skateboarding and business, of acquiring this new knowledge and being like, wow, I was so ignorant before, and you don't know what you don't know, and now I know, and I'm so grateful and can't believe that I actually have the opportunity to know this. And it's just, amazing to know that I've learned so much in YouTube in this 6 months that it's been. But I'll move on to the last point because I'm just rambling on. But I will go into more detail about this mountain of peaks and the deception. The empathy. I've realised I'm starting to become more empathetic. I've wanted to bring it to my mind. I've journaled about it. I've contemplated it. I've had a lot of conversations with my girlfriend Morgan about it in terms of a lack of empathy I've had, and I can't really understand people's situations, and I can at times be very selfish and stubborn around what I want to do and where I want to go. And I've wanted to be more empathetic and understanding people and knowing how to process situations, knowing how to be there for someone and knowing the person they need me to be in an event that hasn't gone too well, or if someone's sad, upset, angry, frustrated, whatever it is, just being able to process that and help them in that situation. And I've got a couple of examples. One, in terms of just being empathetic and thinking about people, I was just out with a couple of friends skateboarding, and we ended up going somewhere for dinner, and I thought, well, I don't know if there's plans for dinner, but I would make the call to say, what is there plans for dinner? Because selfishly, I want to know, have I got dinner at home? Because friends want to go for dinner, should I grab something? Instead, this situation, I was calling to be like, is there plans for dinner? Did you want me to grab you something? Like, I'm going to grab some food, take out whatever with my mates. I can grab you something while I'm out. There's a lot of options. Let me know what you want. And I was just impressed with myself there that call was or even in that situation, I was thinking of others. I wasn't just putting myself first. I was contemplating, like, right, my mum and sister's at home. They might not have dinner plans. I'll just call and check. They might have dinner plans. I don't know. I'll just call, make the offer, buy them some dinner, whatever it is. No, I did, and they did, and it all worked out. The other situation was a situation with Morgan having a bit of a upsetting time, and my response to that was I was completely sympathetic and empathetic in the terms of I understood the pain she was in, understood how she'd felt let down, and realised I felt I had a quite clear understanding of what she needed from me in that moment. And further to that, as it was going along the day, it took me probably half hour, an hour, as I was thinking over this conversation, and I was out gardening, so I couldn't really answer the phone too much. And she was at work anyway, so I couldn't phone too much. So we kept missing each other, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, what can, like, so many times I've been in these conversations, and it's been difficult, whether Morgan's angry at me or angry at something, is frustrated, and I'm like, I'm trying to work out, and I go quite silent into my own head of like, how can I be who I need to be for this person right here? What does Morgan need from me right now? Or does the person need from me? And I just end up in silence, just like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Just as if I'm like a robot that can't understand human emotion. However, in this situation, I realised I know what Morgan will really receive well and benefit from and appreciate is just knowing that I'm thinking about this situation. So I just sent a voice note to say, like, I'm thinking about you in this situation. I appreciate it's going to be difficult. I really hope you have a nice day despite it. And I'll just do whatever I can to help. And just want you to know that my energy and my thoughts are going into what I can do to make it better for you when we do see each other, or even just in that in-between moment. And I just know that full well, I know as well because she responded with another voice note, but that would have meant so much to her, almost more than, like, I could be thinking about it all day long, but just knowing that I took the time to share that with her, or the fact that I did share it with her to make her aware that I was thinking of her in that moment, did so much for her to help feel better and know that I was thinking about her to see what I could do to feel better. And that instantaneously was able to make her feel so much better because I was thinking of her and I shared that. And she's a very feeling person in terms of love languages, which I'm very new to, but she's a very feeling person that's a way to communicate. Whereas I'm very facts, figures, data, and I receive things of like, can you put it in a list and give me the data to say this is correct, this is wrong, and a little tick list would make it really simple, and have it almost like written out as a docs form, a document form that I can then read and take the facts and figures from. So very different people, and I've realising that I'm actually understanding a lot more because I had my ways and I would struggle to understand. I think this is a problem I had a lot in business as a leader, as a manager, as a boss, was that I knew how my mind worked, how my brain works, and how I would like to receive information, and yet I struggled to convey information in a way that people wanted to understand it specifically to them, to tailor it to them. And I've heard so many managers and company owners, founders, CEOs, bosses talk about, with a lot of times managing a large team, you've got to understand each person individually to see and understand how to communicate to each of them. And if some people just need a quick snap, kick up the arse, quite firm, astute, to be blunt to the point, whereas others you need to beat around the bush, you need to be a lot softer and going gently in order to help motivate them. Whereas some people don't want that, they'll just find it fluffy, whereas other people would be too offended and upset by that blunt approach. So it's understanding each person individually and what they need from you. And I'm starting to grasp that a bit more, so I'm really happy about that, and I'd like to think that I'll carry on improving on that, which of course I will. I'll keep putting attention to it, keep focusing on it, keep journaling about it, and keep sharing about it on video. But that's Vlog My Mind. It's actually been the most enjoyable, this voyage in itself. This has been the most enjoyable Vlog My Mind to make to date. And I really want to go into more detail, but I feel I was going to ramble on about my mountain journey, so I'm going to make a mountain metaphor video for you. So look forward to that in lovely audio quality. If anyone knows how I can hook up this camera to this Mac as well, let me know. And if you've liked the video, make sure to like and make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I haven't asked you to do that. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel to get plenty more videos around this that will be with good quality audio now. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.